all of a sudden, lucky we didn't know everything, but all of a sudden we heard people screaming and all kinds of happening shots. I mean, you can't hear it's not the front line, you know. Eventually we knew what. And we heard that people were getting killed, shot. All of a sudden on our street, because it was notorious like Jewish, we saw from far away soldiers and Germans. And everybody went in their houses or in the cellars or in the back. Everything they locked up and they locked themselves out and so on. And suddenly a German soldier, he was wearing a swastika on his arm, and he belonged to, by the way he was dressed, the Todd organization. Todd organization, it's like the CBs, the one who build airports and do all kinds of things. He was a part of that thing. Even them, they were out to kill Jews, any German to go out and so on. He made it to our house somehow, inside, and we were sitting at the table. It was around 12 o'clock, and we were eating some fish, and all of a sudden we saw the German with the machine gun, Juden, Jews, come out, and we understood that something drastic is going to happen to us. My brother, he was younger than me, got up and went to him, and he was crying and pushed away the machine gun from his arm, from his hand there. And my mother said to him in German, you know, we're going to give you something, money. It's worthwhile for you not to kill us. And she went, she took out some jewelry, gave it to him. He said something, we shouldn't get out of the room in the house. He walked away. So the other soldiers, because everyone had a certain duty to perform and so on, so they saw him there, so they thought we were killed or we were dead. This was the first shock. They took the men, and the first came. They were afraid Jewish men are going to start the revolution, so they will kill them. So there were families and families where no man was left. And most of them were dressed in black. Everybody was crying or screaming, and it's impossible to describe that sense. My uncles were rounded up. They were put in those cattle trains, and they packed them in. And they were experimenting the first time how to suffocate human beings and so on. They took the train and they went to Podiloi in June. You can imagine what happens to people, and most of the people died of suffocation. So when the train got there, because they were afraid they can't keep them all the time, medical, you know, epidemic or so on, they opened up the doors. Most of the people were dead. And it's a funny thing, my grandfather, who was in charge of the community in Podiloi, was in charge there somehow because they didn't know what to do with those hundreds and hundreds of bodies. Then the mayor of Podiloi came to him. He said, you know what we're going to do? Because they knew we're going to start with a big fire. We burn them right here in the open fields. And my grandfather said, well, you can't do that. I'll make arrangements to have them buried. And there were thousands of them. So what he did, he went in the village and he asked all the peasants that he's going to pay them. And with the horse and buggy, as they say, they pulled them out, they took all those bodies, and he saw my uncle dead. And just said to somebody, put him on the side, because he wants to make sure that he is there, and he buried him in a certain place. He turned in 2 minutes, they couldn't find his body. He said, I just saw him. He eventually told me after they told my father about it. And they took him, those common graves. Through those thousands of people, there's two. I went back there, big ones there in Podiloi, and they put lime and everything else, and eventually I lost 2 uncles, my father's 2 brothers, Kiva and Shmuel, Samuel, and we lost other people there from distant family. We lost about 6 people. We just saw them, and they were dead the next day.